Hey, good morning, guys. All right, so Micah, let's talk through that a little bit. So you're telling me that you're a little bit. You said you might be in the wrong spot, so you're a little bit. I don't know if I would say confused, but you're doubting yourself, right? So you need to just go back to the process a little bit, right? So the first thing you got to ask yourself is what time frame are you playing? Because if you want to buy the dip big picture, and you're talking to me about buying this pullback. Um, I mean, we're on support, so that's a little bit different contrarian play. But if you're just talking about day trade, you got to go through the process. So you shouldn't be trying to guess or figure out or thinking it's going to turn around. That's all, that's not identifying and being objective. Just thinking it might turn around. Yeah, it might collapse too. That's not really what we're trying to identify. So when you want to start your analysis, it's pretty clear the trend is down, right? And then you just matter of where are you in the cycle. 30-minute cycle is pretty low. 15-minute cycles coming up still. But this is a pretty clear break near term, right? I mean, you can see all these higher lows, right? You can start to see this trend here. All that's breaking this morning. So you want to trade with the trend 80% of the time, right? So this trend should be short here. And then where would you guys put your risk if you're short? If we're short this time frame, yeah, that's all right. You just want to be aware of it, right? Too much thinking and more identifying. I think I'm going to lean short. I'm going to lean short here, cable also. But where would you guys put your risk, right? First thing we want to do is the analysis, which you just did. And then when you start executing, like right now, if I enter a short here, we'd be listing that out as number one, right? And then what's number two? Two has to be on the risk side. Death cross on what there, bud? Mega how? We don't do moving average crosses. They're a lagging indicator, big time lagging indicator. But are you talking about S&Ps? Ed, so Ed likes, hey Ed, how are you, man? So you like the 50-day. Below the bottoming tail? Water boy, that would be if you were long, right? The risk for any of the bulls is below here. But if we're going to be short, the trend's not going to change, guys, until you get all the way back above here. This is really where the risk is. So even if we were to rally, I'm okay shorting all the way back into this move, right? This is the wall, this drop. So this is the whole sell zone right here to short more. I mean, this might just turn into one of these trades where you can't even get above the 8. Because you just want to ask yourself, well, where is the trend going to change where it doesn't look bearish anymore, right? So what you would need the bands to flip. You know, you'd have to get above all of this. This is just a pretty clear downtrend. Lower highs, lower lows. So you got to get me above here before this would start looking bullish again. Let's see what Dragon looks like. You see Dragon's kind of breaking the wedge we drew on the daily. It got below this 142.80 level. It's going to be near-term bearish also, right? So you guys see where the risk would be here on Dragon, right? Pound yen, above here or above here. Right? So even if you were short and the market starts to come up against you, I would never want to flip and go long anywhere in here until I got above, this area. Could be a little bit short Dragon too. Still, we always have these Brexit headline risk when we start playing the pound. Sometimes you just get headlined. I'm going to be a little bit short Dragon too. All right, let's run through some of these markets. This cable telling you guys we might be breaking big level here. All right, let's start with the dollar. You get the dollar right, you're going to get a lot of other markets right. Daily cycles kind of, let's start with the weekly actually. Weekly, actually in a down cycle here as of middle of November. Still kind of hugging the 8, which is rising from a trend perspective. Daily may be turning back down. It's kind of hanging out in the middle of its range. Kind of looks like it's cycling back down. But clearly just very consistent higher lows here. I mean, dollar index trades bullish, trades really well. 4 hour, haven't even broken the bands. That cycle's pretty low. Euro. Here we got kind of the inverse. What's up with that? Kind of the inverse of the dollar index. So weekly cycles rising. And again, the daily maybe turning up. Maybe you want to test the bands here, guys, on the euro. Might want to be a little bit patient to start the week. Resetting some core shorts. Maybe we let it come a little bit higher. The top of the bands there is 114 3/4. 4 hour, we're right at pi. That'll be interesting tone setter to start the week. And then we've got the near term is kind of up this morning. Dollar yen. Daily cycle's low, kind of holding the bands here in front of 112. This range has been 112 to 114 over the intermediate term. 4 hours. 4 hours is kind of trapped between the support down here on the daily level, and then we've actually got this kind of intermediate term downtrend. Near term, see we're in the southern hemisphere on 30-minute. The real money candle here on the 15, but you've got this resistance above the market at 113. That chart's a little bit more mixed. Euro yen, pretty strong this morning. Weekly cycle, can't quite figure out what it wants to do. Still stuck in a pretty tight range on euro yen, big picture. This is definitely kind of a tight handle. You see how the bands are all starting to lay on top of each other. So maybe we get a bigger directional move, either below 126 or we got to kind of clear 133. Kind of watch pi early part of this week, 129.20. Pretty clear range trade on euro yen. I wouldn't overcomplicate that one, guys. It's just supposed to be a seller right here. So we can maybe play that one on top of our euro versus the dollar. Euro pound. Oh wow, look at that. Damn, I didn't even notice that today. So that's cable breaking down, right? We talked about that last week though, didn't we? Remember? We said we get above here. Remember we said that this higher low puts it at a higher probability that this can go to a new high now after we made that halt right here. Right? Halfway. That's exactly what we said. That there's a higher chance that this gets propelled above these highs. And then we said we could go back to 91. Looks like that's exactly what's probably going to play out here. We can be a better buyer near term on euro versus pound. Can't chase it up here. I don't want to short it either. If we go, all right, here's how we play this. Remember we talked about last week how a market gets somewhere matters and in what time frame, right? So if we go from here straight to the 91 level, if we go from here without a pullback, if we just go in a straight line into this resistance, we want to short there, okay? And the thinking is there, it's just something runs that far without a pullback into a major level, you want to short it that first time up. If we don't, from here, if we don't trade right And when I mean in a straight line, I mean basically look at this like hourly chart. You see how there's just no pullback? So if we don't get this, and you just go right to 91, we want to short it. If we get the pullback inside of this range now, that's kind of the gift zone, guys. So about halfway back in here, we want to be a buyer. So it's either short at 91 or we buy this next pullback. Make sense? So that's definitely something that's in play today. I mean, 91's kind of far without probably going to maybe get a sideways move and then another push. So we'll just see how that plays out. That's basically cable breaking down. But that's pretty big here on the charts. I think cable is definitely the most interesting thing here in markets this morning. S&Ps, I think the futures rolled. I think we should be in March now. Somebody can double check me on that. But pretty strong wall, really weak close Friday, right? We kind of held support again. This remember we talked about this as an area. It's not a level. So if you're trying to short because it broke the level, you're going to be twisted up. So this was an area. We kind of held it again. I think today, if we were to rally, see where this support was right here, and then it broke, and then it actually became resistance again right there. I think that's a pretty big spot, 2670. I don't even know if we're going to get that high. Not a bad place to maybe lean a little bit short here. Cycle's still coming up on the 30-minute, but it's been kind of ribboning. We got our weekly cycles trying to turn back down to start this week. The daily, again, the daily cycle is pretty low. We're on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 count. Hey, what's going on, Michael? La. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I still don't think we're out of the woods on the risk. I think the market needs to test this low, 2600. We've kind of had this pattern too of Mondays being kind of a soft week up day, and then Tuesday. Remember, this was Tuesday last week, right? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They haven't rolled yet, Gary? Okay, thanks. I was just weird on my mobile this morning. I had the D's contract up and it didn't say how many days till expiration. So I was like, man, maybe we Santi. Santiago, what were you looking at on implied vol this morning? Cable's getting smoked here, guys. Because this is a pretty major break, I'm just going to sit on this. I mean, I don't know. You could cover a little bit here, I guess, if you want. I guess I'll cover some. Dragons on the low. Cover some of that. So I was just short at 20 lots, so I just cover that, and then I'm going to re-short half of what I was short. That's kind of how it. Yeah. Always something in the news there, right? I was just saying this 30-minute here on S&Ps might be the first place to be a little bit short. I hope we didn't miss it there. 26.45. Kind of surprised treasuries aren't a little bit higher. That cable. Pretty good spot to nibble on some 10s if you guys want to be core long 10s or bonds. Right here. I put a 30-year back on this morning. I guess I should put that in the room. Right at pi on the 5-minute and S&Ps. Topping tail. I may short some S&Ps here. I think you have the VIX back at the bands on the 30-minute. I'm going to lean a little bit short S&Ps. I don't see. See what many days till expiration. Oh, we got 11 days till the contract expires. Yeah, well, that's a good question. What do we have this week? I'll be a buyer, guys, of the VIX for sure if we get back towards 20. Not a pretty good place right here to even be a little bit long on the 8 with the bands on the 30-minute. I'll just play it conservative and wait to see if we get a little bit deeper. If we don't, if we rally here, it'll be because S&Ps fail, so at least we're short there. On cable, you can be adding and reducing here. You just need to get a balance though. Can't be starting. I mean, you could start a short here, but you got to keep it small because we just covered. You know, you're a little bit late here. It's not that we were short up here this morning. So you can start a small short here. You just got to be prepared for a bounce to short more, right? I'm just letting people know that I'm doing this live this morning. Where's Tesla, Chris? $361? No. Wow. Oh, I was thinking that was a bigger drop than from yesterday. You came off hard into the close Friday. Oh, I thought it was deeper. Sorry. Get all excited. So we got a daily cycle that's pretty clearly rolling over, and a weekly. So I still like being core short up here. I didn't add on Friday. I think we'll be a little bit more aggressive on bounces here. Yeah, the old safe haven. 100. Oil's kind of in the middle of the range, guys. It's like $50, 50 and a half on the downside. 54 is still pretty clear as far as the pivot. Intermediate term pivot on oil. Got some good sales up there each time, last couple times. There's first support is right in the same 26.25, 26.27 level. I guess you could say first support is really 26.32 on S&Ps is the overnight resistance. That should be support. Getting a small bearish engulfing on the 30-minute. GBTC? What's that one? Lady boy. GBTC? Is that the old, is that the, that's, what's the name of that firm? Not digital, Grayscale. Grayscale and those guys. I've just watched more of the actual futures. Pretty crazy though, huh? There was a lot of inflows at 30 handle up here. This long term, this is definitely a buy. I mean, you don't have to be in a hurry though. We covered our futures. I covered my futures short yesterday, or not yesterday, last week at 3,100, pretty much on the low. And I actually thought about putting a piece back out this morning. Let's see where we're at on the cycles. The daily cycle is pretty low. 4 hours. 4 hours are back up on BTC. Hourly is about halfway back up. We covered really well, guys. We could lay out some more, another contract here, course short. Maybe even sell another one if we get back towards pi up here. I think I'm going to do that right now, actually. I mean, we covered the low. You shorted more, Santiago? On natty gas? Oh, BTC? Where did you short more? On this bounce, right? $35.20. Nice. Okay. Cable's getting smoked. I figured Micah was in there banging around on the short side again. How were those USO calls? Were they pretty rich? I'm just trying to short some BTC in a couple of accounts. May get a little bit of a bounce here on cable. Let this 5-minute cycle come back up. I got to signal a couple things here in the room. The shorts in BTC are getting high again. If we get 30s back up towards 23, like Alexander, if you're long bonds with me, I'll take half off right in front of these highs from Friday. I think that's Friday's highs, right? Sunday night. Let's look at some more EM. I still think dollar lira can turn the corner down here, big picture. I'm tiny long from last week. Just seeing if it can turn the corner. That daily cycle just turned back down to start the week. But I still like that it made a higher high. We may want to retest this 520 area. Dollar peso. I might short a little bit more, guys, on sterling once this 5-minute cycle comes up. This 26.37 area should be resistance. I mean, dollar peso's been strong, just like everything dollar based. Daily cycle's kind of coming down there. So in the 19 handle, I think dollar peso makes sense. Oh, we didn't do Kiwi yet this morning. Still like where it failed a couple weeks ago. Daily cycle's coming down. Weekly is still pretty high, right at the bands. Still like being a better seller there. We should see this accelerate to the downside if and when it breaks kind of the TMS here from late last week or overnight. And then Euro Kiwi. Kind of still in no man's land here on the weekly. Broke the bands. Haven't quite retested pi or the 200. That weekly cycle's coming up. Daily is kind of coming up here. Euro Kiwi. Back at the bands on the 4-hour. Hourly is kind of. What's up, Aaron? How are you? Cable's right on the 8. I'm gonna watch Euro Kiwi this to start the week here. This is the higher low pivot that matters. So we like playing Euro Kiwi is on the long side. It's usually pretty good. A little bit of a hedge versus the euro. If we were, I don't just really like short euros versus the dollar. So if I was like a heavier short right now, you could buy some Euro Kiwi here with this 5-minute being low. I don't really need to play that at the moment. Not much of a bounce on sterling. This 5-minute cycle is probably going to roll here again. The market kind of got slow. I don't know if this live stream is working well or if it's trying to mess around with it again this morning. Dollar CAD's been pretty strong, big picture. Just keeps grinding higher. It's kind of a strange BCI right here. A little bit of resistance at 135. Curve's probably flattening. Looks like you got lower highs and 10s near term. 5's even weaker. And 2's are on the lows. Curve's flattening. You guys can kind of see how the structure is different. You see how long bonds you're holding the lows versus like 2's are at new lows. The front end's weaker this morning. I'm short a few 5's against our long 30s. So I have a 5's 30s flattener on and probably wouldn't cover that until maybe somewhere down here. I did sell a couple more 5's last night. And if you go look at the ultras, notice how that's like, you're actually making higher lows. So you can see that out the curve is much stronger. Here you've got a higher low, 2's, you got lower lows. Just kind of something to notice. A little bit of a pullback in gold. I was kind of thinking maybe I'd get back in long. Or might just wait for one more knockdown. Maybe back towards 1240. They hitting oil. Not really. Who's short sterling? Santiago, did you end up hitting some down? I'm going to sell some more right now with this 5-minute cycle. Doesn't look like it's going to bounce. So sometimes you just short based on time, even though price hasn't really gone anywhere. I mean, our 15-minute cycle is low, but the trend is pretty weak. And I'll wait on Dragon. If Dragon comes up higher, then short more of that too. You could cover some S&Ps if you wanted here. That's kind of on that first support when you're getting back to the bands in the 5-minute.
Yeah. I had to call this morning and they unblocked it.
I'm probably going to cover a little bit of S&Ps. Hey, what's website guy? What's up? Website guy.
Yeah, I gotta get to work, dude. All right.
I covered a little bit of S&Ps here. Sales earlier. So still got S&P SPY puts and then XOK puts. So if it keeps going lower on the open, that's okay. Pretty weak open though. Looks like we'll have. What do we have on the calendar this week, guys? Santiago, I don't know. I think I thought they did last week. Or agree not to agree, something like that. I think cable's manufacturing production was, down 90 basis points. They're supposed to be coming at 0. You got Jolts at 10 today. You got May speaking at 10:30. She's on her. Um,
Curious. Since I get a check every Friday, that, you know what time like 30 people get to, like, is it always different, or is it like 10 o'clock every Monday that she checks it out?
Tuesday we have PPI and core PPI. Wednesday more inflation numbers. 10-year bond auction. Swiss Bank on Thursday. Bunch of bond auctions in Spain and Italy Thursday. ECB conference Thursday. Friday retail sales. Bunch of PMI in the morning on Friday. I don't see any FOMC though. Is it? Agnes, are you guys short there? I sold some calls on Friday. Couldn't hold 170. It was trouble. 164.90. Wow. It's going to test these lows from April. 160, 161. And then it's kind of the 150 level. 200's down there at 142. The weekly says they're going to 140. I mean, you do have this January lows in front of there. We talked about that BCI last week. I think we're going to test 150. I'm not even sure if I'm net short now because of those calls I sold. I guess we're going to find out when they open. 220? You're kidding, Magnus. Really? Wow, great trade. In here? That's the way to sit down on that. That's great. It's definitely kind of where he started to break down from in here. Is it? All right, thanks, Gary. Cable, nice sales with the 5-minute. That should push lower now. 5-minute just crossed. Yeah, Gary, you're right. Are you long there? Might be a spot to add. Intermediate term. See what happens on a pullback here. I'd like to add maybe get a little bit more long day trade. Definitely trying to turn the corner again. See if Dragon collapses in the same manner that Sterling's doing. Euro. Ooh. Oh, that matters. Some dollar strength. Dollar yen testing 113. Yeah, that's strong this morning too. So dollar picking up. I don't really have resistance till 113.15 on yen. We had that failure pie on NASDAQ. And what else is new? Topping tail. You guys see BCI? I mean, how textbook is all that? There's textbook on the model there. Failure at pie, topping tail, take out the low, swing line, BCI, right in the middle of the move. You guys that are new, you guys see that? So if you were short, you definitely would be covering some here, just by eyeballing the distance of the move, and see if we can see if we get another push down. Topping tail here on the Dow. It was a Netflix pre-market. 64. Not much change there. Well, you guys are on the live stream. I tried to do this for a little bit this morning. I think there's a little bit of traction here. I